yesterday. So this is the time to mask it up. Oh my goodness, there's population happening. All right, I think I feel like singing. Here we go. One, two, three. Coming together in love we rise, building community online. Sharing our hearts feels mighty fine. Making each day better, one song at a time. Come on. Coming together in love, we rise. Clap, clap. Building community online. Clap, clap. Sharing our hearts feels mighty fine. Making each day better, each day better, each day better, one song at a time. A daily antidote of song. Okay, it's early, y'all. What can I say? Great day. Hey, everybody. It's the morning after. The morning after All Hallows Eve. I'm happy to be here with you. Good morning, good afternoon, evening, wherever we are in the world. Happy journey to us all. I'm so happy to see you. Yes, this is me. I'm Arnae. I'm your host for this Tuesday edition of Daily Antidote of Song. Every single day comes to you from those good-looking people over at Carpe Diem Arts. Give them a hand. Carpe Diem Arts. Carpe Diem. Carpe Diem Arts. Okay, y'all. Is it really November 1? Is it really November 1st? Did that really happen?
That's crazy, isn't it?
It's like, really? Really? Okay, I got a confirmation, so I guess it's true. And I think it's day 940, but somebody's going to be here to tell me for true. So let's get this party started by saying greetings to our Facebook Live family. You know the drill. Wave to the left, wave up top, wave to the right, wave on the bottom, back to the right, back up top, back to the left, down on the bottom, and just might as well just wave everybody in the room. Get your wave on, get your wave on, get your wave on. I like it. And Satara, you know I'm feeling you, girl. Okay, I love starting my hellos to the wonderful JoJo Rossi, the creator of this incredible series, the maker of 21 Fishes. She'll be bringing them to your house. She'll be delivering them personally to your house one of these days. Just stay tuned. Let's see. I always have to say hello to Busy Graham. There's Diane. There's Denise. My Monique, Christine, Katie, Anna, Aaron, and then our Zoom guru for the day is my girl, jamming on the one, jamming on the one, jamming on the one, Jaden. Oh, I love the penguin. I love the penguin hat. Fantastic. Okay, let's get started with these shroomers in the chrome room, zoom room. Y'all know what I mean. All right. I'm so glad to see Deborah in Kentucky. So glad to see Nancy. Hello. So glad to see Arlene in Berkeley. So glad to see Susan in Seattle. So glad to see my girl Bonnie in Boise. So glad to see my friend Susan G. So glad to see Annette. Hello there. So glad to see Kevin. Yay, Kevin is here. Kevin, stay close. I might have you saying the goodbyes. So glad to see Hoda in BC. So glad to see Susan in Tacoma. So glad to see Mabel and Bears in Massachusetts. I'm so glad to see Cricket. Hey, so glad to see snakes in the grass. You ain't no snakes in the grass. That's my girl Ruth in Birmingham. Birmingham, UK.
That was her Halloween costume yesterday. Snakes in the grass and bats in the belfry.
I missed it. I missed it. Okay, we'll have to do a reprise. So glad to see Sheila. Hello. So glad to see Kevin in DC. So glad to see Deli. Oh, there's my Luda with my love in Victoria, BC. Thank you so much for that. I'm so glad to see Jenny in Suffolk, UK. So glad to see Kathy in Virginia. And there's Amanda and Miles in Michigan. Okay, so glad to see Dan in Vienna. So glad to see Bronwyn in Victoria, BC. And I see a curly top. One curly top. There'll be more to come. There'll be more. Hello to you. Oh, there's my friend Storm. Always happy to see Storm. We got to see what that hat is. So glad to see Steve Woodbury. So glad to see Kathleen in Albuquerque. So glad to see Jane in Texas. So glad to see Gary. Looking quite sophisticated there, sir, with more sophisticated solutions. What can I say? So glad to see Aloysius in the world. So glad to see Bob in the garden. There's Carol J in Connecticut. Okay, hold on. Y'all are moving. Stop moving. And there's Ralph in Victoria. Oh, my friends Dick and Kathy in Victoria. Hey, Loriana and friends, LMG. Sandy E. in Western North Carolina. Linda Rose is here. I love that backdrop. And Shelly is here. I'm so happy, happy, happy that we are all here with each other today celebrating. If you're new to the Daily Antidote Room today, please take this time right now to identify yourselves in the chat with your first name, your city, your country, whatever planetary formation you're on, and how you found out about Daily Antidote of Song. We really want to know that. And one of these days, you're going to get those 32 fishes that I just promised you from Joe. You know, I don't know how the number keeps going up. Now, yeah, what can I say? Okay, y'all, we're here at day 940. Did somebody confirm that? I think somebody confirmed day 940. Let's give ourselves a huge hand. As you know, we're still celebrating Halloween. Now there's the Day of the Dead. Um, November moves us into a month of Thanksgiving, giving, and today is National Men Make Dinner Day. Did y'all know that? National Men Make Dinner Day. So I got somebody coming over to make some sandwiches for me. I'm happy. I don't require much. I'm good. But I'm really happy that a dear friend of the Daily Antidote is here. Steve Winick, come forward, please.
Here I am. Thank you, everyone.
You
Hi,
got
folks.
okay.
Hi, all.
We need to know about. Okay, we need to know about this whole getup. What is this?
Well, this is my autumn fairy getup, which I wear when I perform with the Ocean Orchestra for autumn gigs, of which we didn't really have a lot of autumn gigs this year. You know, we're still coming out of the pandemic. But in a normal year, we do 2 or 3 autumn-themed gigs where we sing songs related to the fall and the fall of the leaves and autumn seasonal subjects. And I have a set of these Green Man masks, which I have 4, one each for a different season, and this is the fall one. And they were made actually by Shane and Leah Odom, who are sometimes here in the Antidote. And they also made my little friend here. This
What is that?
that I can't get it too close because it's plugged in, but it's a jack-o'-lantern carved from. It's a foam pumpkin that's been carved into a Green Man face. So they do some great stuff, mythical designs. You can look them up. I'm doing a little plug for my friends, but they're awesome. Obviously, this mask is made of leather, which is cut, pieced, glued, and painted. And they're a team. Shane does most of the sculpting and Leah does most of the painting, but they switch back and forth. They both are talented in both areas. So
incredible. Okay, let's sing, Steve. What you got for us?
all right, so I'm gonna sing, and then we'll talk a little bit about the song because you know me, I'm a nerd, and this is all like this is my job as well as my my calling. So I work at the Library of Congress at the American Folklife Center. I'm a folklorist, but I studied singing with Frank Hart, who was a great Dublin ballad singer. This is a song which is called "The Stolen Bride," and it's a ballad originally in Gaelic, and this is a vernacular translation from the Irish. So what that means is most of the time when this song was sung in Ireland, it was sung in the Irish language. And I have some links when I'm done singing. I'll put them in the chat for how this song, one of the ways this song was sung traditionally. But at some point, it got translated in a vernacular fashion into English, and it's also in the oral tradition in English. And that exists both in, the folk tradition and in the folk revival. People sing this song in English. So this is an English version, but Gaelic ballads work a little bit differently from the Scots or English ballads in that usually they kind of assume that the people listening to the ballad know the full story, and they allude to the story rather than telling the story in a straight narrative fashion. So I'll sing the song, and then we can figure out what the story is. So the chorus is actually very easy because it's just nonsense words in English, and it has a refrain and a chorus. And the refrain is just, I'll go, woman washing by the stream side, and it's Shohulo, Shohulo. So, Shohulo, Shohulo, listen to my lamentation. And then the refrain is Shohulo, Shohulo. And the chorus follows the same pattern with those Shohulos in between. And it's just more nonsense words. So the chorus is Shoheen, 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 Shohulo, Shohulo, Shoheen, 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 Shohulo, Shohulo, Shoheen, 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 Shohulo, Shohulo, Shoheen, 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 Shohulo, Shohulo. And here's the song. I'm going to take a little sip. So if we've got that, it begins like this. Woman washing by the streamside, Shohulo, Shohulo, listen to my lamentation, Shohulo, Shohulo, a year this day from the world I was stolen, Shohulo, Shohulo, imprisoned now in a hill of sadness, Shohulo, Shohulo, ha! Shoheen, 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 Shohulo, Shohulo, Shoheen, 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 Shohulo, Shohulo. This is now my palace of sadness, Shohulo, Shohulo, with all fine foods, ale, wine, and brandy, Shohulo, Shohulo, beeswax, candles and honey golden, Shohulo, Shohulo, but men for years in chains lie groaning, Shohulo, Shohulo, ha! Shoheen, 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 Shohulo, Shohulo, Shoheen, 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 Shohulo, Shohulo. 7 miles to yonder townland, Shohulo, Shohulo, find the man whose wife has vanished, Shohulo, Shohulo, he must pluck the white herb growing, Shohulo, Shohulo, at the entrance to my prison, Shohulo, Shohulo, ha! Shoheen, 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 Shohulo, Shohulo, Shoheen, 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 Shohulo, Shohulo. He must come with black knife ready, Shohulo, Shohulo, stab the white horse of the gentry, Shohulo, Shohulo, into a lion they will change me, Shohulo, Shohulo, but hold me tight and do not fear me, Shohulo, Shohulo, ha! Shoheen, 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 Shohulo, Shohulo, Shoheen, 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 Shohulo, Shohulo, ha! Shoheen, 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 Shohulo, Shohulo, Shoheen, 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 Shohulo, Shohulo. The Stolen Bride.
Wow. Wow. Okay, Stephen. We know the story about that. Is it literal or?
Well, it's literal so far as it goes, but a lot of it's left out because you kind of have to know. So, the one thing that's not entirely literal is the word gentry, which was a euphemism for the fairies. People called the fairies the gentry because you didn't openly speak of the fairies, so you called them the good people or the good folk or the gentry, and so that's what that means. It's a fairy horse, not an actual regular mortal horse.
But it gets stabbed though.
It does get stabbed, and there's a reason for that. So what does it sound like is happening? Does anyone recognize anything in this ballad that seems familiar to them from another ballad they might know?
Put it in the chat. Jenny, you're shaking your head yes.
Yeah, put it in the chat, yeah. Yes, okay, so we have Tam Lin in there. Persephone and Tamlin. There's a few people who've referenced Tamlin. And that is, in fact, a related ballad. This is related to Tamlin in a way, and it's related in such a way that sometimes when fragments of this ballad were collected in Irish, the collectors who were more familiar with English language ballads than with the Irish tradition actually identified this as a version of Tamlin. So it is quite similar, and particularly there at the end. So in Tamlin, of course, the Tamlin is abducted by the fairies, and Janet has to rescue him. And she, at the end, they turn him into all kinds of scary things while she's grabbed onto him, and she has to hold him tight, not fearing when he becomes a snake or a bear or a lion or a red hot bar of iron. All of these things that Tamlin turns into, and she has to cling to him despite that. And that's the same thing that happens in this ballad. But this ballad is much more oblique. So the story behind it is that the person who's abducted is the woman, not the man in this case. And she's taken to a fairy mound, which is where the fairies live. They live in these tumuli, right? These sort of hills that are hollow, and inside is supposed to be where the fairies live. And so she's taken there, and that's where she has to live. But what is often the case when human women are abducted by the fairies, is that they're made to be nursemaids. So they work with the children. They take care of the fairy children. And so she is allowed to sit with the fairy children right at the door of the fairy mound. So she can look out and she can see the world outside, but she can't leave. And what she sees is a stream where the local women come to do their laundry, because people would set up a board right in a stream and wash their clothes there. So she can see a woman there doing laundry, and she's allowed to sing to the children. She's allowed to sing lullabies. So she figures that if she encodes the method of rescuing her into her lullaby, then the laundry women can hear that and bring the instructions to her husband. And so that is what she does. She sits there and she sings a lullaby to the babies that the woman can overhear. And so that is what she's expressing when she says, "A year this day from the world I was stolen." She's explaining this to the laundress, and then she explains where she is, and she tells the woman to go 7 miles to the townland and find the man whose wife has vanished. So she, look for the husband who's missing his wife, and then she tells him what he has to do. There's an herb that will help him against the fairies, and he has to stab the horse as they go by, and then he can grab her down off the horse. And of course, what's happening, the reason why the fairies are on a horse is that once or twice a year they do a big procession where they ride around on their horses, and one of those times is Halloween. And so that's why this is a Halloween ballad. In Tamlin, it's expressly said that the ride occurs on Halloween, but that would be understood in Ireland as well to be the case for this fairy ride. So the husband has to come to the mouth of the fairy mound with this herb and this knife, wait for the fairy procession to pass by, stab the horse, grab his wife, pull her off, and then hold on to her while they change her into all kinds of scary things. And that's the story that's being alluded to in this ballad. And there are many versions of it all over Ireland, mostly in Gaelic, but as I said, it's been translated into English many times. So I'm going to search my links here, and I'm going to paste into the chat some Irish language versions from the archive where I work.
And I'm curious, Stephen, do you sing the Irish language version? Do you actually sing those words?
I don't sing the Irish language version,
Okay.
but I learned this from an Irish group. I didn't actually learn this directly out of the archive.
Okay.
So here we go.
And see, all this time I thought the fairies were the good guys. Who knew?
Yeah,
Where's my bubble, Stephen? You just burst it completely.
in traditional culture, the fairies can be the good guys, but they can also be the bad guys. They're very tricksterish, and sometimes they will help you out. But if you make one wrong move with them, they'll go from helping you out to being a nuisance. And then in the classical kind of Irish tradition, the fairies are a more serious kind of people than they are. So this in the more sort of gentle folklore. So there are fairies that are pretty scary. And so the fairies it's a whole realm of beings, much like humans, right? Some of us are good and some of us are bad, and some of us change now, depending on the situation, and that's how the fairies work too. So I plugged into the chat there a version of this ballad in Irish, just so you can hear what that sounds like. Another thing that's kind of fun, I'll find this other link. So a few years ago, I ran a supernatural ballad cocktail party for the Carter Hall School, and this was one of the ballads that I did, and I created a cocktail for it. So for those of you who can drink, I'm plugging in. That's the whole menu from my supernatural cocktail party. So you can make 4 different ballad cocktails, but one of them is the Stolen Bride, which I invented. I invented these cocktails for these ballads. So,
Okay,
so enjoy.
I gotta come. We have to have the party. We now have to have
We
the
do.
party.
We should have the party.
So we
Maybe
got
next year.
the songs and the cocktails to go with them. Dude, I see a songbook with the cocktails recipes right next to it. JoJo, can we get this going? Just yeah, and we'll do that with Joe's 45 fishes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
the fishes have gone up. It's 45.
21 cocktails is a lot. I think I think we can have maybe 7 fishes per cocktail, so we'd only drink 3. Otherwise, that'd be a hard night.
Oh, you think it's just one night? I'm thinking a whole weekend.
Well, we could do it for a whole week.
We gotta spread this out. We gotta spread it out.
Yes, and I will say, people have also noted in the chat the relationship with the Persephone and Hades story, which is quite true as well. All of these go back to very, very ancient mythology about gods and goddesses, but also about ancestors and ancestor worship. And one of the main theories really about fairies is that the fairy belief is ultimately derived from a very, very ancient kind of ancestor worship, because the mounds, the tumuli where fairies live or said to live, are actually burial mounds where humans were buried, that in the prehistoric past. And so there's a thought there that that people transferred their beliefs about these very, very ancient ancestors onto a different race of people called the fairies. And so that's very much what we're celebrating at Halloween and Dia de los Muertos and All Saints Day and All Souls Day is it's not just in Spanish, muertos doesn't only mean dead, it also means ancestors. So Dia de los Muertos is really Ancestors Day. And that's what we're celebrating here as well. And that's another reason why the fairies became very much associated, I think, with Halloween in traditional culture. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. This is fascinating. Let's talk a little bit about the Archive Challenge Project and what I have to do to get in it. Okay, first things first.
Well, to get in it, you just have to email.
Just tell us about it first. Just tell us about it first.
Okay, so the Archive Challenge, what it is generally just an effort by the archive where I work, which is the American Folklife Center Archive at the Library of Congress, to get people to perform the materials in our archive. And, we do it in a number of ways, but it's just basically an outreach effort to put these materials into the hands of people who can actually use them in their own performances. And we've done it with a wide range of people, from, people you might never have heard of to people who have been in the Antidote many times. Chris Matthews has done one of our songs. A lot of people in the challenge have. Fabrizio Camerata has done one. I'm blocking on the specific names of the people who've overlapped. Joe might know more. But we've also done Billy Bragg, and some people who are pretty famous have done Archive Challenge songs. So what we do is, we work with the person to identify songs in the archive that they might be interested in. And we send them links to the recordings, or, mostly we work with the part of the archive that's already online, which is vast. There's thousands and thousands of songs online. But if there's someone who has a very specific interest that we don't have anything online, we can work directly as, a reference team and find something that they're interested in. get them, the materials, and then wait for them to come out and do their thing. And often it's awesome to hear what people come up with our recordings. So the archive is probably the largest archive of ethnographic sound recordings in the world. We say probably because we can't really measure the size of every archive in the world, but to our knowledge, it's the largest one, and it has approximately 7 million items in it. Although a lot of those are manuscript pages and photographs too. They're not all sound recordings, but we have lots and lots of field recordings.
Is that all?
Yeah, exactly.
That's all.
We got some X number of million are sound recordings of traditional songs and other things too. We have a lot of stories, and we have interviews about lifestyles of all kinds, which is what folk life really is. So interviews about cooking and traditional culture of all kinds. But we're mostly known for the songs, partly because before the American Folklife Center itself was created in 1976, but before that, the archive goes back 50 years before that to 1928, and it was a folk song archive in the music division of the library. So that's why we're mostly known for our songs. And Alan Lomax worked at the Library of Congress for a few years in the 1930s and 40s, and then he left and went and did a whole lifetime of collecting after that.
Exactly.
But the library purchased those collections, so we have those collections too. So the Library of Congress, many of our recordings are on the Library of Congress website, loc.gov, but many of them are also on the Alan Lomax website, which is culturalequity.org. And you'll notice that the item that I pasted into the chat is on culturalequity.org. It's a recording that Alan made in 1951, I think. It's either 51 or 53. Those were his 2 trips to Ireland. And it was after he left the Library of Congress. And the interesting story there is that he was blacklisted because he was, he hung around with communists and lefties. So he was blacklisted, and so he went to England and lived in England for the majority of the 1950s. And during that time, he traveled to other parts of Europe and made extensive field recordings in Ireland, in Scotland, in Spain, in Italy,
Wow.
and in a few other places around Europe. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And we have all that stuff as well as the materials. Another big segment of our materials is recordings that were collected during the New Deal era by various government organizations like the
Right.
WPA.
Right.
So those are our 2 sort of big chunks of
Right.
collections. But
Right.
yeah, we have a lot of great old field recordings online.
Yeah, I remember years ago when I worked with Dr. Regan at the Museum of American History. The Library of Congress is where I would go.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I would listen to the material, and you had to be in the little room. They would play it over the loudspeaker. You
Right.
could never touch anything, and it was white glove it all, and I appreciated it.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, well, so if you're going for a commercial recording, you still have possibly an experience somewhat like that. But if you're going for our field recordings, things have changed a little bit. I mean, because now most of it will be played back over a computer, and you'll have headphones, and you'll be able to, you can touch whatever you want because nothing's an original item. It's all
Right.
copies.
Right.
We do have some amazing and fragile stuff. Like we have the oldest recordings of Native American music and song in the world, made in 1890.
Wow.
Those are on wax cylinders. And we keep all of that really, really fragile and rare stuff in Culpeper, Virginia, in the
warehouse.
National Audio Visual Conservation Center.
Yeah.
So it's a great location for the stuff. It's sort of like a fairy mound. It's built into the side of a hill. It's a tumulus, with our buried treasures.
We can't get away from it. We can't get away from it.
Right.
It's stimuli. We'll call
Right.
them stimuli. Okay. I'm going to get in trouble here, but can we please have the song again? Because we know it now.
We can.
We know what we're singing about. Everybody take a sip. Take
Yeah,
a
exactly. I gotta
sip
get
of
a little sip.
something. And yeah, I'll be talking with you, Stephen, about that challenge because I have something in mind.
Sounds good. All
All
right.
right. Take it away, sir.
All right. Woman washing by the streamside, Shohulo, Shohulo, listen to my lamentation, Shohulo, Shohulo. A year this day from the world I was stolen, Shohulo, Shohulo, imprisoned now in a hill of sadness, Shohulo, Shohulo, ha! Shoheen, 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 Shohulo, Shohulo, Shoheen, 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 Shohulo, Shohulo. This is now my palace of sadness, Shohulo, Shohulo, with all fine foods, ale, wine, and brandy, Shohulo, Shohulo, beeswax candles and honey golden, Shohulo, Shohulo, and men for years in chains lie groaning, Shohulo, Shohulo, ha! Shoheen, 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 Shohulo, Shohulo, Shoheen, 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 Shohulo, Shohulo. 7 miles to yonder townland, Shohulo, Shohulo. Find the man whose wife has vanished, Shohulo, Shohulo. He must pluck the white herb growing, Shohulo, Shohulo, at the entrance to my prison, Shohulo, Shohulo, ha! Shoheen, 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 Shohulo, Shohulo, Shoheen, 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 Shohulo, Shohulo. He must come with black knife ready, Shohulo, Shohulo, stab the white horse of the gentry, Shohulo, Shohulo, into a lion they will change me, Shohulo, Shohulo, but hold me tight and do not fear me, Shohulo, Shohulo, ha! Shoheen, 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 Shohulo, Shohulo, Shoheen, 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 Shohulo, Shohulo, ha! Shoheen, 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 Shohulo, Shohulo, Shoheen, 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 Shohulo, Shohulo.
Wow.
So if we have like 2 more minutes, there's another thing that occurred to me to say about this song, which I think is important about it,
Okay.
which is in addition to being, a piece of fairy lore, it's also a really interesting song from a woman's perspective and a feminist perspective, in that, one of the things that has been observed about traditional women's folklore, and this is also true of other groups that have been historically marginalized, including African American folklore and all kinds of other folklore, is that they include these coding strategies for communicating things in a way that the hegemonic culture won't understand what you're saying or what you're implying. And that's what's happening in this song, is that it's 2 women communicating with each other in a way that the men and or fairies around them can't understand,
And really getting the message out succinctly and clearly, like, this is what you have to do. This is where I am.
right
Here's
right
what's going to happen. Be ready and hold me tight.
And one of the ways in which women achieve that, historically and culturally, is to embed these communications into women's work, which is seen as something that just goes on in the background and the men aren't paying attention. And so you sing a lullaby and the men aren't going to listen to the lyrics of that lullaby, right? And that's how you get this stuff out there. So it's interesting from that perspective too. And one of the reasons I mention that is that this song frame idea of the lullaby being used to convey the whereabouts of someone who's been kidnapped and in prison exists outside of the fairy context. And a really interesting example that we have in the archive is actually, it was recorded in Florida in 1939 or 1940, but it's in Arabic, and it's a Lebanese version of essentially the same story, in which the woman was kidnapped by a Turkish invading Turkish army. So she's kidnapped by Turks, but she's used as a nursemaid in that environment, and she encodes her escape instructions or her whereabouts into a lullaby and sings the lullaby to the children in hopes that it'll get back to her family. So it's the same, that part of the story is the same without the fairy aspect, and it's a purely, sort of feminist women's story in that case, I think. And so
I'm with that. I'm
so
with
I wanted to mention that too. So
That's so important. Thank you so much, Stephen. We got to get together, and maybe instead of cocktails, we have some mocktails, because
yeah, we could do that.
there's a lot of knowledge you have that I just want to take it
All
out.
right.
So
I would love to talk to you as well. I know you've got a lot of knowledge too, so we can compare notes on a lot of stuff. So
let's do that. Everyone, Stephen Winick, and people want to
thank
know.
you, everyone.
They want to know the makers of the mask. So if you could shoot that information into
Yes, I'm going to go do a
that.
quick internet
And
search and put it in there.
fantastic, fantastic. And then tomorrow, something very important is happening at the National Portrait Gallery.
Oh,
That
that's right.
includes Jojo Rossi, there's Steve, there's Jen, there's Juan Diaz. They'll all be at the Portrait Gallery tomorrow. Um, is there a time? Jaden, can you tell us the time? Somebody let us know what the time is.
5 to 7 p.m. And he's also doing a workshop.
You're not supposed to be talking. You're not supposed to be
I
talking.
know. I always jump in because I'm big and bossy. 5 to 7 p.m. and then also a workshop that he's doing, a free workshop learning how to write a corridor ballad from noon to 3. And the links are in the chat here and on Facebook Live.
Fantastic,
Yeah,
fantastic.
and I'll just say, sort of behind the scenes, Juan and I switched places because he was able to do yesterday and not today. But I was doing this reason I was doing a Halloween ballot, but it's the day after, is that I was originally going to do it yesterday. But Juan and I are old friends as well. He helped me out just last year on a podcast I was doing, but we know each other for years. He's done this corrido workshop at the Library of Congress for us, in entirely in Spanish. He's doing it in English this time at the National Portrait Gallery, which is unusual for him. He usually does it in Spanish because corridos are naturally in Spanish normally.
Yes.
It'll be a really interesting thing, and he's eager to see how it goes. So anyone who can make it to that, I'll put in a plug for Juan too. He's fantastic. So
Fantastic. So exciting. So much going on. So much going on. And let's just all stay connected. Let's just all stay connected. We know how to do it now. Okay, let's take a breath on that. Ooh.
whew,
I think I
yeah.
just gave the announcement about the portrait gallery. If there are any others, Jaden, who's jamming on the one, we'll make sure it's in the chat for us. I'm going to ask Kevin. Is Kevin Ennis anywhere near? Kevin Ennis. Is Kevin Ennis anywhere near? I can't tell. If you
Yes,
are,
I'm here.
oh, Kevin is here. Fantastic. Kevin, I just want to thank you again for Friday. What a wonderful time I had with you and Amanda. And I really, really was so impressed with your outshouts. You shouted everybody out of the room. And so I'm going to ask you, if you don't mind, would you indulge me and do that again today and say goodbye to the folks in the room, please?
I will absolutely do that.
Okay, let me.
Jada, can you take it off of... Actually, you know what? No. Because this is easier. Maybe because it's bigger screens.
Okay, just take your time. I know I asked you off. It's on the spot, so just take
Oh,
your.
that's okay.
And in the meantime, I think we'll say goodbye to the Facebook Live family. Is that what we need to
Yes.
do?
Hello and goodbye to our family out on Facebook Live. We hope you enjoyed this edition, and if you would like to jump in the room, there's always a link on Facebook Live for you to jump in the room, or you can find it on the Carpe Diem Arts website, www.carpediemarts.org, and click on Daily Antidote of Song. Goodbye to Jam and Jaden on the One Tech. Goodbye to Arlene in California. Goodbye to Annette, also in California. two California people next to each other. Thank you very much. Goodbye to Ralph and Penny in Victoria. Hi, Penny. Nice to see you. Goodbye to my friend Susan G. and my friend Bonnie in Boise, Idaho. Goodbye, nice reindeer costume. And Hoda, welcome back. We hope you're feeling well. And Cricket, thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Kevin in DC, we hope that you enjoyed today, and we're jamming out on the flute. Ruth in Birmingham, UK, thanks again for last night and for today. We'll see you tomorrow. Mabel with Two Bears in Massachusetts. In gloomy Massachusetts, at least here in New Hampshire, it's a little gloomy. And thank you and goodbye to Delhi. I hope you're having a nice day. Thank you and goodbye to Sheila and Ginsburg in Gainesville. Oh, that's a lot of G's. Florida. And thank you and goodbye to Kathleen in Albuquerque, New Mexico, Dan in Vienna, Virginia. Storm with your hat. And with your non-cloaked identity. And Cat Cox, who I can't tell if that's you in a costume or if you're not in your seat, but I'm thinking it's you in a costume. And Rosalie, Denonfield in Michigan, thank you. I hope you enjoyed seeing Deborah today. Martha Wagner in Oregon, thank you for coming, and we enjoyed seeing you. Jamie Dundas in Victoria, thank you and goodbye. Curly Tops in their regular identities, or so it says. Thank you and goodbye. We so enjoyed that last night. And, oh, the Curly Tops are next to each other. Dawn and Leanna in Vermont, thank you very much, and we'll see you tomorrow. Diane Weinstein, thank you for always zooming in from Puerto Rico. And, oh, my two Spanish-speaking friends are next to each other. Gracias y adiós a todos. Thank you and goodbye to everybody. If I missed you, wave now, and I will check all 3 pages once again. I think we're good. I think that's everybody. Thanks and goodbye, and we'll see you tomorrow for 9:41. Who is singing tomorrow? We'll see if Joe knows for today.
Well, see here. Say goodbye to Gary and Christy. I'm not sure we snagged Gary and Christy over there. And who's singing tomorrow is, well, I can say that who's singing Friday is like the biggest, coolest surprise ever in the world. So I'm just reminding everybody not to miss Friday. And who's singing tomorrow might be Wendy Luella is singing tomorrow. So join us tomorrow. But seriously, folks, make sure you mark your calendar for Friday. And yeah, we've got a good week. I think Fabri is on Thursday coming in from Sicily. So hope to see you all tomorrow and the next day and the next day, and hope to see some of you live at the Portrait Gallery. Hope those of you who live in Albuquerque and British Columbia have already bought your plane tickets to meet us at the Portrait Gallery tomorrow. All right. Love you guys all so much. That was a blast yesterday. Thank you so much for everybody who made it. And whoever couldn't make it, hope that you'll be able to make our next cocktail party, which will have 45 cocktails from Steve, and I'll bring a fish. One fish. All right. I'm just kidding. Love you all. Hugs and love. See you tomorrow.